Welcome to another episode of Wrestling with Worldwide Willis. And today we're going to talk about some many things. But before we do that, we're going to talk about how this podcast is brought to you by the LMG Podcast Network, as many others are. My name is Brandon, and let's go ahead and hop in to matches of the week. I think we all know matches of the week wise, it's not many matches that get better from an entertainment standpoint than Braun Strowman and Brunson Reed. Those two guys killed it. And you know me, I believe this match should have been on Bad Blood just because I think these guys exemplify the reasoning behind that pay per view and the name of that pay per view. Obviously, we know it's built off the back of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, but I think this rivalry is up there as far as beef is concerned. Not as a long standing beef, but from the time it happened, it's been a great rivalry. Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. And you know me, I thought it should have been on the pay per view, but I'm really glad it wasn't now because I do think it exposed these guys to your normal crowd, your normal Monday night crowd, and they got to just do their thing. They didn't have to worry about being the second match of the night, the third match of the night. You know what I mean? They got to spread out and let the match breathe a little bit because they had so much time to themselves, being on a Monday Night Raw. So I think they got to then allow those two guys to really stretch their wings and try different stuff. Like they were doing some really cool stuff, and I think I want to know who produced this match. I bet you it was Abyss. I bet you it was, but I don't know that for sure. But man, like this was a really well produced match. Like they were going from one thing to the next. It was spot heavy, but it felt like all the moves felt major. It felt like it meant something. It felt like it wasn't just them jumping off of random stuff. Like these are two big dudes. So that alone added to the spots. It wasn't just, you know, um, Osprey versus Ricochet where they're just jumping off stuff and we all know they can do it and they're doing it just because they can do it. This was two big dudes who we know takes a lot of labor, takes a lot of energy climbing up whatever they climbing up and jumping off of whatever they want to jump off of. We know it takes a lot to do that. So for them to do it, that means they're trying to take it to the next level and cause as much damage as possible. So I thought they did a great job this week. Definitely match of the week. It was extremely entertaining. It was everything we kind of wanted to be, and I liked it was in front of the crowd. They didn't take it to the back like the one before the first kind of interaction they had. It was cool, jumping on the car, and it was cool, some other cool stuff. But I'm glad this was in front of the crowd. You had the crowd as a part of the chaos and the carnage that was going on. I think that was a good decision there, not to go to the back fully. And so, all right, let's talk about Jay Uso first. Obviously, he's the Intercontinental Champion. We saw a new belt. We saw technically the same belt design, just we added some color, right? Because the earlier design was black and gold. There was really no other color in it other than that. But similar to the past IC title, kind of that iconic. I don't want to say the only. There's a few iconic designs. This one looks more like the iconic design of the Attitude Era, right? Intercontinental Championship, where it was gold, had a little bit of blue, green, kind of the globe picture, or kind of inspired by obviously the gold, the Earth, the globe. So you could tell they kind of infused that into this new design. I thought that was really cool. It looked good. It didn't make the title look cheap. It didn't make it look fake or anything like that. It really added to it. It kind of popped a little bit more now. So I can see the IC title becoming a little more popular as far as like merchandise is concerned and all the other things because it looks cool. It looks still honestly, Gunther should have made this change. They probably should have made this change back when it first came out, 2019. I want to say 18, 19, whatever that was. But yeah, really good design. We saw Jey Uso come out with his kid. It was really cool to see. the crowd kind of showed him some love, and you could tell he was definitely like feeling it. He got a little emotional. That was cool to see. He kind of had some time to himself with the crowd and to thanking him for rocking with him this long as a individual champion, his first individual title. Braun Breaker comes out, and we're thinking, oh, okay, well, Jay's about to get speared. Something's happened. Some shenanigans is going on. But actually, it was Braun Breaker congratulating him and kind of telling him, hey, man, straight up, man, the man, congrats. The better man won, which you could kind of tell they're starting to move Braun in a babyface direction, but you also felt like it was kind of slow. It was kind of more natural. Where this you could tell was a purposeful shift for him to move towards being a babyface, which I think is very natural. It's a very good decision. The dude, it's hard not to root for Braun Breaker. He's cool looking. He has really cool move set, cool music. The barking, he has a lineage that you just love, like we all love. Well, at least most of us do. The Steiner brothers is probably one of my favorite tag teams of all time. I love Scott Steiner. I'm a WCW guy, so I loved him when he was there. I love Rick Steiner. So that lineage alone is makes you interested in him. And then, oh, by the way, he's really good. Braun Breaker is really good for his age, super athletic. All these different things. So it's hard not to root for him. So it's natural that he starts to get some more love. So they're sort of like, oh, okay, let's pivot him towards a babyface direction. So it looked like a thorough babyface, congrats, handshake type of situation. Later on in the night, he approaches Gunther, confronts him, kind of lets him know, hey, I'm on the radar. Look out for me when you're done with Sami Zayn. I'm on I got my eyes on that World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I will say my only issue right now that I'm having, and it's not really a Triple H era thing specifically. This happened all the time back in the day, right? This isn't something brand new. I've just kind of noticed it more is that why are we having people lose their titles and then losing their mid card titles and then immediately jumping up to give you a contender for the main event title, essentially. Like Gunther. Gunther loses the IC title and then immediately challenges Damian, immediately challenges for the World Heavyweight title. Braun Breaker loses the IC title, immediately challenges for the World Heavyweight. The World Heavyweight title. Like I feel like this has been done a couple other times. I'm just like I don't understand that thinking, right? If I'm the champ, if I'm the mid card IC champ, I lose my belt. Yeah, okay. Let me step away for a sec just to get refreshed, kind of a refresh thing. Let me come back and then quickly earn. It ain't got to be months and months. Just win 3-4 matches in a row. Then I call my shot for the next level, the world title, the U.S. title. I mean the Universal title, right? But don't come back and immediately my last match I lost, but now I want to be no one contender for the big belt. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. But it's been working, I guess. At least it works because the people they're using with, right? Braun Breaker, Gunther, plenty of other people, right? So yeah, it's interesting to me, but hey, that's the way they want to do it. It's fine. We saw Andrade and Melo have another great match. It was a really talked about match over the weekend. And we got a tied series 3-3. Melo and Andrade tied up. LA Knight came out there and kind of tried to get involved, but eventually ended up distracting Andrade and caused him to lose to Melo. Melo took advantage. And so I'm really, again, I say it every week. I'm loving this series. Like this is a series that 5, 6, 10 years from now, kids are going to talk about. Real wrestling fans are going to talk about. They're going to be like, "Hey, man, remember that series that Andrade and Melo had? Like, man, that really started off something. You know what I mean? That was great. It was a great series. Like that type of stuff is what you remember. I remember as a kid watching rivalries that weren't title matches, that were kind of mid card rivalries that took off into something else. Right? When I was a kid, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. yeah, it was for the had the cruiserweight title involved, but sometimes it didn't. Sometimes Chris Jericho was a cruiserweight champion. It was just Ray and Eddie going at it to try to see who could take the next step to challenge Chris Jericho. So like little stuff like that is huge to me. So this series is really highlighting the best of both of them, right? We see Melo has the potential to be a main event guy, and we see Andrade can still to this day be a main event guy if given the opportunity. AEW wastes him thoroughly. Vince McMahon wasted him thoroughly when he was when Andrade was in the main roster in WWE for a little bit there. So I'm really excited for both those guys. Hopefully they continue this thing, really allow them to let the rivalry, and Triple H is great at this. That's what I love about the Triple H era. He'll let the rivalry grow while also letting the two superstars kind of venture out a little bit, right? Let Melo start challenging LA Knight. He might win it, or Andrade might beat LA Knight, and then they both come back together and they're the first contender for both of them. Like they're the first one on the list to go up against as the champion to defend their title. Like you can definitely do that. And so like again, this is going to be Friday Night SmackDowns have been really good, and it's due to the fact you can build the night. Like, and they're not the main event. They're not the reason you're buying a ticket. But when you're at the shows and when you're watching SmackDown, they are a key piece in keeping the show entertaining and a pillar of the show. So shout out to both of them. Um, again, we can talk about Bad Blood. Let's talk about the card. We got this upcoming weekend. We have Bad Blood, obviously. So let's talk about the matches in store. So we first have Nia Jax versus Bayley, which was announced recently. Um, I think it's going to be some shenanigans here because there's no real reason, to be honest, why you would have this match on Bad Blood. Honestly, if it wasn't some shenanigans going on, if we didn't have as we saw last week, Nia Jax is sort of getting fed up with Tiffany Stratton, and that partnership is starting to wear its course. So we obviously we have a SmackDown left before we get to Bad Blood. So you could see probably they're probably going to move it even more in that direction between a split between the two, but not all the way to leave it up to where Bad Blood is kind of a decision made by Tiffany Stratton what she's going to do. Obviously, she has the Money in the Bank briefcase. She could cash it in if she wants to. I think this would be a good opportunity to do that. However, she would have to fully turn on Nia Jax, who's the champion. Bayley's obviously trying to get her title back. She beat Naomi twice to go to give this match an opportunity. So again, no disrespect to Bayley or Nia, but for this to be on Bad Blood, I think, and this is not one of the hotter rivalries whatsoever, I do think it's going to be some shenanigans. It's going to be some cash in, Money in the Bank cash in of that nature, something like that. And I do think overall the rivalry's done well as far as building Tiffany Stratton and building that, the Money in the Bank. This is one of the best women's Money in the Bank storylines we've ever had because, as we know, with the women's Money in the Bank briefcase, usually lasts a week at best, and then there's a successful cash in immediately after Money in the Bank, which this one's kind of dragged out a little bit, thankfully. So you know what I mean. So this it's not really going to be a surprise, but at least it's a different case for women's cash than it's been in the past. Where again, like before, it was just boom, the woman wins Money in the Bank. She might cash in that night. She might cash in on Raw the next night. She might, you know what I mean? Like it was that week she would cash in, and it would always be successful. So again, I think it would be some shenanigans there, but we'll see. Um, then we have Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. I'm expecting a lot from this match. I think both guys are really good in the ring, and I'm hoping that obviously there'll be some Judgment Day shenanigans, but I'm hoping these dudes really take pride in having this match against each other and really go to work and really show that they're both still two of the best in the game. I'm looking forward to that one. That one's I'm hoping is a really good wrestling match. I obviously, like I said, it's going to be some shenanigans, but I'm hoping it's a really good on its own. I'm hoping it's a great wrestling match. Same for well, I say same or Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan for the women's world championship, and you have Dominic Mysterio suspended above in the ring in a shark cage. I mean, obviously that's shenanigans. Like, there's no better way to describe shenanigans than Dominic Mysterio suspended above the ring in a shark cage. We know that. We know we're going to get there. But I'm hoping it's a good match. I'm hoping Rhea wins and sort of ends this rivalry. Um, Liv Morgan's great. I do like that this rivalry hasn't necessarily been about the title and it's been more about the relationship and the backstabbing and all that stuff. Judgment Day and Rhea and Dominic and all that stuff, the romantic level stuff. But it would be nice to have a women's champion who's kind of, you know, a real champ because there's a lot of good contenders on Monday Night Raw. Io, Bianca, you know what I mean? So it'd be nice to get a champion again, a true champion again. All right, we have Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. Now, as I've said for weeks now, this is gonna be the main event. We know what time it is. I don't know why we're trying to be dumb about this. This is the main event. This is the moneymaker. Like, obviously, the other match I'm about to talk about afterwards is going to be a moneymaker as well, because it's that level of talent in that match. But this is where their faces are going to be on the tickets, right? Um, I'm really excited to see Roman Reigns back in the ring again. I'm excited to see him versus Jacob Fatu in a matchup at a moment. They're going to have a moment. Cody Rhodes obviously is going to be there. Hopefully, I think he's going to add a lot to the match emotionally. Him and Roman struggle with each other, trying to be partners while going against this, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, but also just the bloodline in general. I'm just really excited to see this match. This is going to be fun. It's going to feel like a big time match and WrestleMania almost level match. So I'm really excited for that one. I think it's going to be a really big matchup. And then lastly, we have CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre, Hell in the Cell. They had a great promo this past Monday. Both of them just being in a Hell in a Cell, but they're got security guards in between both of them, and they're both just on the mic getting it all out. Both of them did a great job. I think, again, Drew McIntyre is the most improved player of the year as far as mic skills. Like, we knew he had a really cool voice, and all that stuff, the look and everything, but the dude's promo skills have gone above and beyond to the point to where he can sit there with a mic in his hand and stand hand to hand, stand face to face with one of the best dudes to ever hold a microphone in CM Punk. And the fact that that's not a clear mismatch by any means, that's a win for Drew McIntyre, because we know in the ring, both of them are great in the ring. But I think if you were thinking about this rivalry 3 years before, you go, yeah, CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell. This is a long-lasting rivalry that's almost a year long. And you're going to be like, oh, they're going to have promo battles? Like, is Drew going to be able to hang? He's hung. He's done really, really well. Like, he's not only hung, he's flourished in this rivalry. And he's pushed himself to meet CM Punk's skill level on the mic. And I think it's only risen his stock throughout the company and just throughout the business in general. Like, Drew is one of them guys now to where when he grabs a microphone, everybody hushes up and wants to see what he has to say. Whether good or bad or ugly, they want to hear what he has to say. So I'm really excited for that one. I think Bad Blood, similar to Bash in Berlin, is going to be a great card. Like, yeah, I really do. I think it's hard. It's going to be hard to make any bad matches here, especially if we can get Damian and Finn to step up. If we can get this Liv and Rhea match to go pretty well, I think the rest. And then I think if we can have a really cool cash in for the women's WWE Women's Championship, Nia Jax versus Bayley, and Tiffany can come out as a champ, I think we have a really good card. I really do. Um, I do want to talk about Gunther finally accepts Sami Zayn's request to to challenge for the world championship. Again, this is another IC champion who loses and then challenges for the world championship. Makes no sense to me, but whatever. I'm hoping Gunther destroys him and we're done with it. I do want to quickly talk about the latest news with AEW, Penta, and Ray Phoenix. they were going to come over to WWE as a great tag team. If you don't know, look them up. Pentagon and Ray Phoenix. They were one of my favorite tag teams to watch in AEW. But unfortunately, they were about to sign and come over to the main roster of WWE. But Tony Khan, being the petty guy that he is, he added injury time to Ray Phoenix's, and I believe Penta, but I'm not quite sure of the details of that. But um, he added injury time to their contracts, which means okay, anytime I essentially what I take from that is if you've been injured for 6 months, okay, now you got to give me 6 months back, essentially. So yeah, it's pretty, and so now essentially Pentagon and Ray Phoenix are back in AEW, and they're gonna have to serve out that time, that full contract time. I'm assuming not injured, like they can't get injured or something like that. I'm not 100%. I've never really heard of this stipulation in the contract before, but forget all of that. I think that essentially it shows that Tony Khan is not this um, people's favorite booker, CEO of a company. He's actually cutthroat, just like everybody knew he was. The stuff he used to talk about Vince McMahon and Triple H and all these others, the way Tony Khan used to talk down on them about stuff like this, he's doing it now. He's adding injury time to wrestlers' contracts. He's doing all these little petty things because he's in the loser position, right? And so now he's getting desperate. He didn't want to see Ray and Penta on WWE television. So he's doing this type of stuff. And I think he's going to do it for many other guys whose contracts are coming up. Malachi Black, I can see him doing it to him and plenty others. So it's petty, but, you know, it's expected. Tony Khan's a businessman, it's whatever, but the thing is, Tony Khan used to always kind of talk about this new modern, he's a modern CEO. He doesn't want to do anything. He's a pro wrestler's favorite type of guy, but he's out here doing petty stuff like this. So again, it kind of sucks because I would have loved to see Penta and Ray on a WWE platform because I think they're honestly two of the best tag team wrestlers out there, if not some of the best technical wrestlers out there. But hopefully, eventually we get there. But it's probably going to be a while, if ever, to see them in WWE. But yeah, wanted to just give a quick update on my thoughts on the recent ongoing stuff. I would say, again, go check out on YouTube, WWE on YouTube, on their channel. They have the Monster vs. Monster, the Last Man Standing match, Brunson Reed, Braun Strowman on YouTube. Go check it out. It's a great time. It's a quick watch, but it's fun. It's a good time. Go check that out. That's my gift to you. But until next time, we out. Yeah.